Good morning. Welcome. I'm so happy that you're here today. I know that we are looking forward to sharing what we have in store for you at a school right around the corner from here, Westview. You are the class of 2025, and today you're going to learn more about what classes you can take, what Westview has to offer you, and what you can do to make high school the best experience. So, Westview is all about connections. And what I want to tell you today is that when you're listening to this presentation, I want you to think, what do I want to get out of high school? Do I want to be a part of athletics? Do I want to be in choir? Do I want to do drama? Do I want to join a club? We have clubs like no other. We have a Disney club. We have an esports club. We have robotics is a really popular club, Science Olympiad. You want to get connected. And that's what I want you to take out of this presentation today. We can't wait to welcome you to our Westview campus. And right now I'd like to introduce to you some administrators. So this is who I call the A team. They are awesome. So we have Miss Alicia Grafe, Mr. Darcel Glover, Miss Terry Hurd, our athletic director, Mr. Steve McLaughlin, and our ASB director, Shannon Parker. And they work tirelessly behind the scenes to make sure that you have the best experience at Westview. And now I'd like to introduce our wonderful counselors who have prepared a fantastic presentation for you today.
Good morning. I'm Elisa Berner, and I'm the counselor for students with the last name A through FEL. Welcome to Westview.
Good morning, everyone. I am Vanessa Ho, and I am the counselor for students with the last names between FEM through LIM.
Good morning, and I am Mrs. Ramirez, and I work with students who have the last name LIN through ROG. And can't wait to have you on our campus next year.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Christine Cudmore. I am the counselor for students whose last names are ROH through Z. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. I'm Mr. Mata, and I am the intervention and CTE counselor working with a 9th and 10th grade group of students. Welcome.
You will definitely get to know all your counselors throughout your time, all the counselors throughout your time at Westview. We hope that you get to know your counselor in particular, but we're all here to help you and support you. So anytime you walk into the Green Center, any of us are more than happy to work with you. Now let's get started.
All right, so this morning we're going to talk to you about our Westview schedule, opportunities for you to get involved on our campus, and just share with you some of the things that we really enjoy about being at Westview High School and why we think this is such an awesome place to be. So one of the important things we want you to be aware of is our 4x4 schedule. We have a unique schedule here at Westview called the 4x4, and we want to make sure that you understand a little bit more about it this morning so that when you pick your classes for next year, you have an idea of what you need to do to make sure that you have a good, balanced, and complete schedule for your freshman year. So the 4x4, we use certain terminology to describe our school year. We talk about terms and quarters. And what that means is that we have 2 terms during our school year, a fall term or term 1, which goes from August to January, and term 2 or the spring term, which goes from January until June. In just a few minutes, I'm going to show you a picture of what that looks like because I feel like it's really good visually to see how that breaks down during the school year. But just so that you're aware, we have term 1 and term 2, and then we also divide those terms into quarters. So term 1 is divided up into quarter 1 and quarter 2, And then term 2 is divided up into quarter 3 and quarter 4. There's some really great benefits to the 4x4 schedule. You can take up to 8 classes in one school year. If you were at a traditional semester system, you would have about 6 classes. The trimester schools offer 7 classes, but on the 4x4, you can take up to 8 classes in one school year. You can actually take a minimum of 6. So if you did a 3x3, that's an option as well. And we'll talk about how that works and what that might look like for you in your schedule. But having the 4x4 gives you the option to advance quicker in a particular subject area, or to take multiple years of that subject area in one school year. So you can actually move ahead quicker in your math classes or your language classes. You can take more elective classes that you might be interested in, because you have that opportunity to take up to 8 classes in one school year. You also can actually remediate or retake courses if necessary as well on the 4x4. So the minimum class is 6, gives you 2 extra spots each school year to do whatever you want with your schedule. So you can retake a class if you need to, or like I said, you can advance to another subject area or advance quicker through a subject area with those 8 classes. It also helps you balance your schedule a little bit. And how you can do that is by considering off-roll, which is something that a period where you don't have a class during the school day. So an off-roll means that you don't have a class. Typically, it's 4th period, the end of the school day, or it might be 1st period, the beginning of the school day. So you would have, if you had 3 classes, you might go to class period 1, 2, and 3, and then period 4, you're off roll. So you don't have a class that period. You could leave school early if you needed to. You can stay and get homework done. It's just a time where you're not enrolled in a particular class. This is really common for a lot of our athletes who maybe have games during the week. They don't want to miss their 4th period class, or if they just have practice every day and they want to make sure they have extra time to get homework done before their practice starts. It can also be a student who maybe just has a tough schedule. They're taking some challenging courses and they only want to focus on those 3 classes. So they take an off roll to give themselves an extra period to get homework done and just more time because they only have 3 classes to focus on. So there's lots of benefits of having the off roll, and it can be really used to balance out your schedule during the school year. So we're gonna go ahead and look at a sample schedule, or the 4x4 schedule. So this is what the school year looks like. We start our school year in August, we end the school year in June, and the midway point is January. So between August and January, as I mentioned, is term 1. And you can take 3 to 4 classes between August and January from term 1. And then from January to June is term 2, where you can take an additional 3 to 4 classes. So in term 1, as an example, you might have your English class. So your English class would be starting in August and ending in January. You wouldn't have English your entire school year. You would only have English in one of the 2 terms. So it would either be term 1 or term 2. In that term, it's divided up into 2 quarters. So the first half of English 1, is quarter 1, and you get a grade that goes on your transcript in about October. And then you start the second half of your English class, English 2, and you're done with that class in January. Then you might get a brand new schedule. And so then you start term 2. And let's say then you have your math class. So then you would have integrated math 1 for quarter 3, 1A, and integrated math 1B for quarter 4. This shows you what that might look like with your this is actually a 4x3 schedule because they have an off roll in term 2. So term 1, the student has 4 classes. They have English 1-2, ENS 1-2, Spanish 1-2, and Ceramics 1-2. They're done with those classes in January. They get a new schedule and then they start their term 2 classes. So then the student has integrated math 1A, 1B, ENS 3-4, Spanish 3-4, and off roll. So this student, just some examples to show you here, this student has 2 Spanish classes in one school year. They're doing Spanish 1-2, which is the first level, first year of Spanish in the fall term, and then they're doing Spanish 3-4 in the spring term. So they have what's equivalent to 2 years of their foreign language completed in one school year. You can do the same in math as well. You could do integrated 1 in term 1 and integrated 2 in term 2. So there's lots of flexibility with our 4x4 schedule. I also want to point out our ENS 1, 2, and 3, 4. This is our freshman required PE and health class. It's exercise and nutritional science. So some of our students will have the ENS 1, 2 in the fall, and some of our students will have the ENS 3, 4 in the fall because this is just your freshman PE class. And then you flip-flop and you take the other half of that class in the spring. For those of you that are interested in credits, you earn 5 credits per quarter for each class. So you can earn up to 20 credits in 1 quarter. If you're taking 7 classes, as this example is showing, you can earn up to 70 credits in 1 school year. You need 230 credits required to graduate high school. So if you took the minimum 6 classes and you had off-roll every term, if you did that all 4 years, you would still have 240 credits, which is more than the minimum 230 credits. So you can take an off-roll every term in high school and still have enough credits to graduate. You can have more credits if you did a full 4x4 schedule and had 8 classes in a year. You would have up to 320 credits. So you would have a lot more credits than you need to graduate. But that's okay. A lot of our students do that and they take extra classes that they want to take during their time in high school. So the next screen shows another sample schedule. This is a sample that's showing a student who's in a year-long program. So this student maybe has marching band all year or NJROTC all year. So we want to show that you can still fit in a lot of classes even with those year-long programs. So this student in term 1 has English 1, 2, Spanish 1, 2, integrated 1, and marching band or NJROTC. In the spring, they have ENS 1, 2, which is that required freshman health and PE class, Spanish 3, 4, integrated 2, and concert band or ROTC. So this student doesn't have the ENS 3, 4, which is required for freshmen because they're in a program that's actually going to earn PE credits. So both marching band and NJROTC earn PE credits. So they don't need to take the ENS 3, 4 class. So this student was able to add another class to their schedule. So they added the integrated math 2, so they could take integrated 1 in the fall and integrated 2 in the spring. So this student is looking to advance quicker through some of our courses. They have 2 years of the Spanish in 1 school year and 2 years of math in 1 school year. The next sample shows you can you click on the button? Thank you. So the next sample shows you the ENS 3, 4. So this student is not in that marching band or ROTC. So they had to add back in that ENS 3, 4 class, but they also wanted an off roll in the spring. So maybe this is a student who's doing a spring sport and they wanted that extra time in the spring. So they have a 4x3 schedule. And then the last example we have is a student who doesn't want an off roll. So they were able to add in another class, biology of the living earth is what they chose. So they have their 2 years of language, their 2 years of math, and they have their biological science class as well. So they're meeting a lot of the requirements for graduation and college admissions. If you can click, thank you. So the next screen shows you the graduation and college requirements. I'm not going to go through each of these in detail today. Some of you like to plan ahead, and that's great, and you want to look at your 4 years and see how you're going to meet all your graduation and college admissions requirements. But right now, we just want you to focus on 9th grade and making sure that you're choosing your 9th grade classes and that you're all set for your classes for next year. But the graduation requirements and the UC-CSU A through G requirements, which is your 4-year college admissions requirements for University of California and California State Universities, they're very similar. And so just by meeting your graduation requirements, you're almost fully going to be on track for the 4-year college admissions. The only difference is math. You need an extra year of math for 4-year college admissions. So you need integrated 1, 2, and 3. And then you also need the language other than English, so the world language class. 2 years is the minimum, but 3 years is recommended. All the other subject areas that are required for college admissions are the same as what is required for graduation. So it's great that our district has you on track already to meet those requirements and almost be eligible just with your minimum graduation requirements.
Okay, so I'm going to go into how you need to select your courses and what you need to select for ninth grade. And before I get into this, just to, we didn't mention this in the beginning, but we are trying to answer any questions in the chat that pop up. So if you can just reserve your comments to be mostly questions, that would be fantastic. We have 2 counselors who are answering questions from their own personal accounts, and then we're also trying to answer them through the Westview Counseling account. So if you see anything from KB Ramirez or Lisa Berner or from Westview Counseling, those are ones that are being answered by Westview counselors. Okay, so I will go into this. And then I'm just trying to make sure that that there wasn't something in the chat that I wanted to. Okay, I'm good. All right, so I'm going to go into selecting your courses and they'll be answering comments and questions. So there are 8 classes that you need to select. And so the first 4 classes that are listed here are required courses for ninth grade. So all ninth graders need to take an English class. And I will go into specifics on what the breakdown of each of these class options are after the slide as well. So I'll talk more about what options you have for English, math, and so forth. So all students need to take an English class, a mathematics course. They all need to take ENS 1-2, and ENS stands for Exercise Nutritional Science. And the 1-2 section is actually our health course. So it is a required PUSD graduation requirement. ENS 3-4 can be substituted by a full year of marching band, tall flags, or ROTC, if those are things that you're planning on taking. It is also a physical education class. So it is a state requirement that students be in a physical education class throughout the entire school year. So that's why we have ENS 1-2, 3-4, or those other options for in place of ENS 3-4. And then you have 4 more classes to choose from. And we just put suggestions for students here on what you could select, but it really is up to you and what you and your family think would make a right balance. So Ms. Cudmore spoke earlier about, making sure that you're utilizing the 4x4 to your benefit and creating balance. And so that's what these classes could help you do. So you might choose to take a science class, elective, some world language courses, or you might choose to do off-rolls. So let's go into some of those options. So English prep. Or not English prep, English options. English prep is our foundations builder for students who maybe are struggling right now in your language arts class. So it really is, it's intended to be taken in the first term of ninth grade, and it's an elective credit. Students are really taught a lot of the foundational skills on how to be successful in English 1-2. So if you took English prep, you would take that in term 1, and then you would take English 1-2, which is your English required class in term 2. And in that, it's a college preparatory A through G class that meets your college requirements. And then you also have the option of honors English 1-2, which is more independent in that while in English 1-2, you may be expected to, you might have time to write your essays and read in class a bit. On honors English, a lot of that is expected to be done at home. And then in class, you're doing Socratic seminars, discussions, and doing activities to really build on what you've already learned and read at home. It is a faster paced class, and there are more writing and reading assignments through Honors English. And I would definitely encourage you to talk to your current language arts teacher to get a recommendation from them on what they would suggest you go into. Your next required subject area is mathematics. And so this is a flowchart that our math department created just to help guide you in potential classes for next year. If you are currently in Math 8, depending on how you're doing right now in Math 8, let's say that you're struggling right now in Math 8, we would suggest that you take Integrated Math 1 with our Academic Success class. What that looks like is you would have Academic Success first period, which would front load you the material and the information in that first period class. And then one of your other periods later in the day, could be second, third, or fourth period, would be your Integrated Math 1 class. So the idea is that you're getting a head start on the math curriculum for the day in the Academic Success class, and then able to support and then be able to participate and really understand it a little bit better when you are in your actual math class. So you could take that, and it would be in either term 1 or term 2. It's not something you would select right now. It just depends on your schedule and how it all fits into your schedule. If you don't necessarily need the Academic Success support, but you do want to stagger out your math classes and maybe don't want to do math every term, then we would suggest you take Integrated Math 1 in 9th grade, and then Integrated Math 2 in 10th grade, and so forth. If you want to try and get through your math curriculum faster and you want to take more math throughout high school and get to advanced mathematics, then you could take 2 math classes in the same year. So you could take integrated math 1 in term 1 and then integrated math 2 in term 2. And you could even do that with academic success supports as well. So we do have academic success for both integrated math 1 and integrated math 2. I would just caution you on taking 2 math classes in 1 year if your goal is not to take advanced math courses at some point throughout high school. So it's a great option for students who know that they want to take AP Calculus throughout high school and they want to reach maximize their mathematics classes in high school. But if you are not sure if that's really what you want to do, we encourage you to take 1 math class a year so that you have math every year, which will best prepare you for when you go to college or any post-secondary education that you need to do after high school, because you will most likely have to take some math after high school. So we want you to have it as long as possible while you're in high school. So stretching it out would be to your advantage. So it just depends on what your goals are for math. If you are currently in integrated math 1, then you have the option of either just taking integrated math 2 in 9th grade or doing the integrated math 2 with integrated math 3. You do have the academic success options as well, but since they were outlined above, we just left them off of the bottom ones, but those are still options as well. There are also, from our 8th grade parent night, the math department did a great breakout and put a lot of resources available on our website with some sample schedules and what that could look like for you throughout the course of your 4 years. So I would encourage you at the end of this presentation or at the beginning of the presentation, I put in the comments a link to our course request resources. And on those resources under math is the presentation that the math department gave. So if you want to reference that for more information, I would encourage you to. Okay, exercise and nutritional science. So this is your health and your PE curriculum. For our health curriculum, we talk a lot about stress management, goal setting, nutrition, human reproduction, substance abuse, and it is a requirement for graduation. The counselors also go in and do 2 different presentations. We do one on career building, college and career building and exploration, and then we also do one on stress and anxiety. So it's a good place for you to see your counselors again and just get to know us a bit. And then, like I mentioned earlier, you do need to select, all students need to be in some form of PE. So whether that be ENS 3-4 or marching band, marching tall flags, or JROTC. And those 3 other programs are year-long programs. So science. Science also did a really great presentation at our 8th grade family night that I have linked as well on our resources. So I'd encourage you to look at those as well. But this is just a flow chart of some of the different options that you have available to you for science. And we don't have prerequisites for Westview, but we do have recommendations because we want you to be successful in your classes. So all of these courses that are listed here have recommendations that are associated with them. And what I really love that our science department did this year was that they also put an estimated number of hours that students are working on these AP courses in particular outside of class each week. So this will help to give you an idea of what balance might look like for you for 9th grade and future years as well as you're planning out your 4-year plan. We do not encourage 9th graders to take AP classes, especially AP science courses. As you can see, they all require some form of high school level science or mathematics courses. And so the AP courses that are listed here are really intended to help in you planning what 9th grade could look like for future science classes that you plan on taking, future advanced science classes you plan on taking. But if you're going to be enrolled in academic success math, we really encourage you to hold off on taking science. As you can see, you can take 2 of any subject area in the same year. So if you wanted to hold off on taking science in 9th grade for other courses to help support you and gain more strength and to strengthen your foundation, then we would say, maybe in 10th or 11th grade, you could double up on sciences if you really felt like you needed to. But you have time to take sciences throughout your time in Westview if you skipped it in 9th grade. If you are enrolled in Integrated Math 1, you have those 4 options available to you. If you have Integrated Math 2, then you also would add in physics to the list of courses that were under Integrated Math 1. And then higher math beyond Integrated Math 2 would be the other courses, but we do recommend other science courses prior to them as well. So we have 3 different foreign language classes available, world language classes available to you at Westview. We have Spanish, French, and Filipino. We do recommend that if you are going to start your world language in 9th grade, that you take 2 of the classes sequentially, just because language is something that is kind of like a use it or lose it kind of thing. It can be hard to sustain language acquisition if you have a break in it. So, and some of our classes are only offered in specific terms. So Spanish is offered all the time. So that one we're not as concerned about. But French and Filipino, we only offer French 1-2 and Filipino 1-2 in term 1. And then 3-4 level is only available in term 2. And 5-6 is only available term 1, and 7-8 is only available term 2. So what happens is if a student, let's say, only takes French 1-2 in 9th grade and chooses to take French 3-4 in 10th grade, they'll have over a year's worth of a gap in their language acquisition, which can be a little tough to jump from. So we really encourage you, especially if you're taking French and Filipino, to sign up for the 2 years of the language in the same year. AVID is also an elective that is available, and we want to make sure that we highlight it and let you know that the application is available on their website. It's a class intended to help support students attending a four-year college and gain the successful study strategies to help them be successful throughout high school. It stands for Advancement via Individual Determination, and students do need to be individually determined. They do need to be motivated to succeed and to do the work that is associated with it, but they do a lot of really fun, great things that help to support their exploration towards college and careers, and in building a solid foundation that can help them be successful not only in high school but also in college. There is an application, spots are limited, so we do encourage you to apply, and if you are interested in it, they will get back to you and let you know more information as well. So this is a slide that actually, if you were to open up this presentation on our website, you can actually click on these different links and get more information about these classes. These are just some of the other elective courses we have to offer at Westview. This is not by any means an extensive list of our elective courses. We have so many elective courses, but these are some of the ones that can be program-based. And what's really nice about these is they are very a tight-knit group of people who work together, and they tend to take these classes for many years. So for instance, our orchestra and band programs, students in those programs feel like they have their own little family in that program, and they have a lot of support there. Not only for band and orchestra, but for all their classes and their just social emotional needs and everything. I would say the same is true for any of these programs that also have clubs associated with them. So maybe you never knew that, you know, through, I don't know, let's say graphic design, that you would all of a sudden find this huge interest for it. And then through graphic design, there's actually a graphic design club as well that does a lot of work for our school as well as in the community. And so through some of our classes, there's a lot of extracurricular opportunities that can be developed through that. So we encourage you to take a variety of classes and get involved. Oh, I don't know what just happened. Oh, it went to Westview Theater. That's why. Okay, give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Here we go. Okay, so that was the problem with having clickable links. Okay, so this is our 9th grade course offerings list. It is available on our website on the link that I had shared at the beginning of the presentation, and I will share at the end as well. One thing I want to point out is that you do want to use course IDs when you're selecting courses. There are multiple courses that are listed when you go in to select your courses in the course request window that have the same name but have different course numbers. And so in order to make sure that you are selecting the correct course, then you want to make sure you're using the right course ID. So for instance, our math classes, if you're selecting academic success with integrated 1, then the integrated 1 number is actually a different number than the integrated 1 number without academic success. So it makes it really confusing if you don't select the right course number, for us to make sure that you're matched with the right accompanying course if you need that. So make sure you select courses using course ID numbers, as well as please notice that anything that is in a box that has, I highlighted this one red, but anything that does have a box around it are courses that need to be taken together. You cannot split up these courses. So sometimes we tend to see students who will select, let's say, just honors biology. Honors biology is not a course that's offered by itself. It does need to be selected with AP biology. So please, anything that you see that is in a box does need to have both sections selected. So your next steps for selecting courses is to review all of our materials. They're all available here through this link. We have sample 4-year plans, course profiles, which will help you kind of learn more about a class and see if it's the right fit for you. We have flyers that teachers have made, especially this year being virtual. Our teachers try to put as much information through flyers and Google slide decks and just different resources for students to really be able to know what some of their classes are and to be able to make informed decisions. And part of why we really want you to go through these materials is because it is hard to change classes when you do get to high school. We are very limited on our course selection. We build our master schedule based off of student requests, and we are limited then on any changes that we can make. We are able to make changes if there's an error or if maybe you're in the wrong section or level of a class, but we don't make changes based on elective request changes or that you change your mind. So we really want to make sure that you know what the class is, what's entailed in the class that you're selecting, and to ensure that you don't need to make any changes when you get here in the fall. We want you to have a really successful 9th grade year, and part of that is making sure that you pick the right classes. You'll enter in your courses through Synergy in the course request tab, and then when you are done selecting your courses, you can lock your course request. Please know this is not first come, first serve. We do not start making the master schedule until the window closes. So you don't need to feel rushed to select your courses. Please take your time. Just make sure to lock them before the end of the course selection window on April 2nd, just so that we know that you were sure about your selections. If students do not lock the request, we will put students into the required courses. And we hope that they enjoy the classes that they get signed up for. And then if you need any information on how to enter these courses through Synergy, we have updated the instructions and they're available here as well as on our course request options. Our window is already open and it closes on April 2nd.
So we are Westview, and one of the important questions you have to ask yourself is, how will you Westview? So how will you be able to contribute to this awesome campus and have an amazing experience? Because there are so many ways that you can be involved. As you can see on the slide there, we have, of course, band, and we have cheer, we have the different athletics that we offer, we have a robotics program. So there are so many ways that you can be involved at Westview so that you can leave a lasting contribution in your 4 years as a Wolverine, but also so that you can be able to prepare yourself for college, because when you get to college, you're going to want to be involved as well. And you're going to want to be able to immerse yourself into the culture, to be an overall well-rounded student, and to prepare yourself for life after college. And here we can see, of course, some clickable links. But one of those programs that we want to highlight, of course, is our ASB, our student leadership. So ASB stands for Associated Student Body. And we have an outstanding ASB group here. We have, of course, led by Mrs. Parker, our activities director, students that are building their leadership abilities, students that are preparing themselves to be leaders. And as you can see on the graphic here, desire, passion, and dedication, that's what equals an ASB student leader. Our ASB is involved in pretty much all of the activities that we have on campus. We have rallies and we have so many different impactful events that are gonna make your experience at Westview a top-notch experience overall. So if you wanna be able to contribute and you wanna be a leader or you wanna develop as a leader, please consider ASB. It would be a great opportunity for you. Also, we have a very outstanding athletics program, led, of course, through our athletic director, Mr. McLaughlin. We have so many different sports that you can be involved in. We have water polo and baseball, volleyball, basketball, football, just to name a few. But as you can see there are ways that you can be competitively involved in sports through Westview. And if you are an athlete, well, we welcome you to try out and be part of our athletics program at Westview High School. There are some important tidbits of information that we want to go over with you regarding athletics, but probably the best way to get yourself informed is to look at our athletics website. Again, these are clickable links for you to be able to navigate our pages, our different pages in whatever program you might be interested in. So we invite you to please click on the athletics website so that you can get information on tryouts. Also very important, the physical clearance forms. Those must be completed before you can be part of a team or even be part of a tryout. And of course, the athletic events that are offered. We're hoping to be able to next year in 2021-22 to have the different sports in the corresponding seasons. And as you can see there, we have the fall sports, winter sports, and the spring sports. So please do look at our website and try to find out where you want to participate as an athlete and what are important dates to look out for. Again, to be able to participate in athletics, you must have clearance by a physician, have appropriate insurance. You must be enrolled in at least 3 classes. Very important to point out. If you are in a sport, please consider perhaps having an off-roll during your 4th period class if you have to travel to a particular athletic event or competition. And also, you have to maintain a 2.0 GPA or above. Very important because we also want to be able to communicate to you a life of balance, having balance in your academics and balance in your athletics. So please consider all of these things that are very important for you to be eligible for athletics at Westview. And to be successful, well, there is some guidance that we want to provide to you. How can you succeed as a Westview Wolverine? We want you to keep in mind that organization is very key. Staying organized and using your planner, being able to communicate with your teachers, that's super, super important. So in order for you to be successful in your 4 years at Westview, these are some tidbits of advice. Always make sure that you are up to date on your MyConnect, being able to look at your grades, your progress, being able to look at any perhaps assignments that you have to still turn in, and using Wolverine time. So Wolverine time is a super important time to be able to either connect with teachers, to be able to connect with your counselors, to be able to really just organize yourself for success. Again, super important, communicate and be in contact with your teachers. One of the best advices we can give you is to be able to have that relationship with your teacher where you're able to be open and communicative with them, ask them for help, ask them for any support that you might need, and also some important things that might be going on in your lives. Your teachers are going to be your main point of contact through your 4 years at Westview. Be involved, as we showed in the previous slides. There are so many ways to be involved here at Westview, but also have a life of balance, because at the end of it all, we want you to maximize your potential. We want you to be well-rounded, have the experience of not only the academics or athletics, but also club involvement and extracurriculars, so that you may be able to prepare yourself for being that well-rounded student as you start applying going into your senior year for colleges and universities.
Thank you, Mr. Mata. Now I am going to allow all of the other counselors who are on here to join the stream right now, because there's so many questions that I want to see if there's anything that we should probably answer for everybody's benefit, because as I'm looking at the comments, there are some things I think everyone probably has questions about but may not be following the chat. So one that I saw is it was asking about PE. So I'm going to show it here. It was specifically asking Ms. Berner, if you join a sports team, so an athletic team between 10th and 12th grade, would that count towards your PE credits? So just to go backwards a little bit, all students have to have 20 credits of physical education to graduate. Those 15 credits of those will be earned in 9th grade as long as you pass your classes. So ENS 1 counts towards health. ENS 2, 3, and 4 will count towards your physical education requirements. So you earn 15 credits in 9th grade. You still have 5 more credits left. Those 5 credits can be waived by us playing a sport in 10th, 11th, or 12th grade. You just need to fill out a physical education, a PE exemption waiver that can be found on the athletics website at the beginning of your season. So if you're in 10th grade and you're playing track and field, let's say, that is a spring sport. You would have to fill out the form at the very beginning of the season once you make the team in order to have those 5 credits waived that year. If you can't do it retroactively, it does need to be done at that time. So it's just important that you do it at the year that you play that sport. There's also questions about how to access this resource. I'm going to put the link in the chat. It's also available on the front of our website. It's actually on our course registration resources page. So this presentation, the slides are available there, and then this presentation is available to view again whenever you want on the same YouTube link whenever you want to go back to it and watch it. So is there any other questions, Ms. Ramirez or Ms. Cudmore, that you're seeing that we want to address?
Another big question that came up a couple of times is if world language is a requirement. So world language is not a high school graduation requirement, but it is for college entrance. So if you took it with us, it would count as elective credit. But when you're applying to colleges, you would need to take 2 years minimum and 3 recommended. So it would be at a minimum the 1, 2, 3, 4 sequence, and recommended to go through 5, 6.
And I can show, where's the graduation? Here are the graduation requirements. So you can see we don't have it on our graduation requirements because it is a requirement for.
And then something else that seemed to be needing clarification, if you could stay on this page, is what counts as elective credits. So anything above and beyond our minimum graduation requirement then counts as elective credit. So we require 20 credits or 2 years of math. But if you take that, any additional math, a 3rd or 4th year of math, those count as elective credits. If you take more than 1 year of a fine art, those would count as elective credits. So anything that you elect to take then counts towards your elective credits for graduation.
And there's a question of like, what is a college prep elective specifically? When you look at, let me see if I can get to that slide, 1 second. If you go, okay, here. So on this slide, anything that you see, so there's a course key at the bottom here. Let me make this large so you can see maybe a little bit better. There's a course key here. Anything that's in a P, that has a P next to it, and you can see most of our classes do have P's next to it, means that it does meet one of those ACT requirements that Ms. Ramirez was showing you, the college requirements. But anything that has an E next to it means that it's specifically a college prep elective. So it only meets that G elective category. And you'll find that maybe up here, where like AVID, for instance, is a G elective category. It's a college prep elective specifically. Ethnic studies, some of these classes are going to be college prep elective credits specifically. Okay, so this is a good question actually of to complete the 4 years of English, you need to take 4 terms or 4 full years. English is only 1 term. So you're only going to take 4 terms, 1 every year. So you're going to take English every single year, but they're only 1 term long. As long as that's one you select. We do have a couple classes that are more than 1 term, but it's what you select. But you always have the option of taking 1 term of English. Ms. Ramirez, Mr. Mata, or Ms. Cudmore, do you guys see anything else that we should make sure to highlight?
I've seen some questions about the science requirement, the difference between the science, biological science and physical science. So you do have to have 1 biological science and 1 physical science for graduation and for college admissions. If you're looking at this course list that's on the screen, they are divided up into each category. So you need to choose 1 from the biological science section and 1 from the physical science section. And if you take additional, then those count as additional years or additional elective credits.
And then there's a question of, is Spanish, French, and Filipino the only 3 world languages at Westview? And yes, currently those are the only 3 languages. Some students do take languages outside through pre-approved Poway Unified programs, but they do need to be pre-approved, and then you do need to submit specific forms for those that are available on our website.
There's a lot of questions regarding sports, and I know that we love our students and our student athletes, and the best place to get the most up-to-date information on sports would be on our athletics website. So if you go to the Westview website under athletics, there's a wealth of information, and each sport really has their own website on when their tryouts are, who their coach is, and what the requirements are. So I would really guide you for the best, most up-to-date information to go into the athletics website. Or if you reference, I think on the 8th grade parent night and different community forums, our athletic director has been putting out a lot of information, but it's been changing a lot constantly. So even information that went out a week ago might be outdated compared to what it is currently. So I would really reference you to go to the Westview website for any up-to-date information on that.
And then I do see a question here, and this can be confusing when we talk, because sometimes the colleges do put things in years and we talk about terms or credits. So a year is equivalent to 1 term at Westview. So the equivalent of, that might make it more confusing, but 10 credits to our graduation requirements of 10 credits. So it says 4 years of English for the A through B requirements. That equates to 40 credits of English, and each English class is worth 10 credits. I hope that makes sense. But basically, it's each term of the class is 1 year and the A through B requirements. And then there was another question just about the English. You do have to take English every single year. You can't double up on English in a year and then get done with it by the end of 10th grade. You have to take English every single year. See, anything else that stood out?
Can we go over how to book an appointment with us? Because a lot of questions are individualized.
Yes, absolutely. I will actually walk you guys through it. Let me see if I can find
And that seemed to be something they didn't know they could do when I was answering questions earlier.
Absolutely. So this is Westview's website. I will have you start here because this is the easiest way to get to all the resources. So if you go to Westview's website, this button up here says course selection. You click that, and it will bring you to these 2 colored buttons. One of them says click here if you are a current 8th grade student. So that would apply to all of you. This is basically your go-to place for all information regarding selecting courses for next year. So there's videos you can watch, all the dates available. This is even a tour of our campus if you want to watch that. Sample schedules, here's your steps on what to do. And then this is actually the presentation we're going over now. So you can see just the slides if that's what you want. And then there's also the slides from the 8th grade family night if you wanted to look at that, which does have additional information. For individual appointments, you can click here. So for instance, if you were going to make an appointment with me, you would click here and it would take you to my calendar. And you would pick what time and then any available time slots. And then we would have a 10, 15-minute meeting about your specific courses. Please know we try to make as many time slots available as possible so we can meet with as many families as possible. But in doing that, we have to keep our meeting short. So we may not have time to go over your entire 4-year plan, but we will try and really make sure that you're selecting the best courses possible for 9th grade.
And then one other question I thought was really great. I don't know if you're able to pull it up, but it was by Irene about changing classes once you get to Westview. And so her question is, if I select 4 classes for term 1 and realize that I would like to change one, how can I do that, drop it, and take another class?
Do you want to answer
it? I can answer it. So right now is the best opportunity to get the classes that you would like for your freshman year. We have not yet created our schedule for students. So when you're asking what teacher or what period, we don't know that information yet because we're waiting till we get all the course selection from all of our students before we build our schedule. As a student, you don't get to choose what period or what term a class is offered or put in your schedule. So when you're making your 4-year plan and you have it in term 1 or term 2, everything could be interchangeable as long as it's not in order. Like you would always have Spanish 1, 2 before Spanish 3, 4. But we have guidelines on course corrections. And so we can only make schedule corrections if you're in the wrong level of a class, if you're missing a core grade level requirement. What are some of the other ones that I'm trying to think of off the top of my head? If you're missing a period, so you like don't have a period 3, so we needed to make sure you have a class, but we can't change you. Like I signed up for bio, but now I want to do chemistry. or I signed up for photo, but I want to do drawing and painting. So you have to be really mindful in the course selection process that you are picking classes you're interested in, because we can't do changes that aren't in the wrong. If I'm in honors English, but I need to go down to English 1-2, and that's only if we have availability to be able to make that change.
Also, Ms. Ramirez, there's usually a lot of questions from students about, well, what do we do in drawing and painting? Or what's design and mixed media about? And to answer those questions, please, again, as Ms. Ho said, go to our website. And on our Westview website, you can actually look at the course profiles or even the course catalog so that you can get a good explanation as to what a certain class is all about.
Yes, I'm showing you what those all look like. There's podcasts associated with them. So if you're interested in what computer programming looks like, you could click on that, and there's information about what you actually do in that class. Sorry, my internet is slow and buffering. But it has all the information, what you'd be learning. There's even podcasts available as well with the teachers or students talking about those resources and what is available in that class for you.
And a lot of our art classes also have Instagram pages. So if you find the Westview ASB is a really great one to first start at, and then they're friends with pretty much everybody. So you can find the Westview art, the Westview ceramics, photo, so you can see sample work and projects of things that they're doing in their classes.
Ms. Cudmore, there's a question about AVID. Do you mind answering that a little bit? Because Ms. Cudmore works with the AVID team a lot.
Yeah, sure. AVID is it's an elective course that students can take that helps prepare you for setting goals for after high school. The focus is typically getting into a four-year college. They work on organization skills, study skills. They do a lot of college prep work, so building a resume, researching colleges, doing career and college assessments. Senior year, they're actually filling out their applications during their AVID class, so they're getting help kind of walking through those applications. So it's an elective that you would take during high school. You can join as a 9th or 10th grader, and you typically stay in for all 4 years. And it's combined with one of your other elective classes. So 9th grade, it's combined with an English class. There's different combinations based on the grade level. So it might be an English or a history class, or you have the option to choose for each year. And so the class is really just one period all year. You're doing your AVID curriculum and your subject area. So if it's English or it's history, you're doing that together with that same teacher all year in one period. And the students really enjoy being together. It's kind of a class that you're together with the same group of students throughout high school. So they really build a nice AVID family that they're connected to with their students and with the teachers. Another great thing is they get to go on college field trips. So they go visit several colleges each year. I don't remember what the number was, but I know during one of the AVID sessions, they were saying there was probably like 15 to 20, somewhere around their colleges that they had visited by the time they were seniors. So all different types of campuses, small, big, rural, non-rural. So lots of options and lots of ways to see different colleges. It is a program you have to apply for. So there is an application that should be linked in this presentation. It was back on the AVID slide. So you do need to apply for it and also register for the class. So you do the application and you pick the class in your schedule.
And then I do see a question about ISPE, so Spacey Independent Study of PE. There is more information on the Poway Unified website. We call it OCISPE, which means Off-Campus Independent Study. And it is available for students who do competitive sports outside of our Westview athletics. And you do need to do the application through the district website. Yeah. And that could be substituted for ENS 3-4 as well. It just depends on if it gets approved, because it doesn't need to go through an approval process.
There's a question, there's been a few questions about math sequencing, and I know we went over that. But the question I'm seeing most commonly is if 4 years of math are recommended, does that mean we have to take all integrated math 3 classes and an AP class? On that course information sheet that Ms. Ho showed earlier, there's a really great presentation by the math department that lays out all sorts of options on your math course selection and ways that it can be sequenced out. But how I like to recommend my students is when they say that they want you to take 3 years of math, 4 recommended, is they're thinking of a standard high school where students only have the opportunity to take 1 year of math, so that you should have a math class your freshman, sophomore, junior, and preferably your senior year. So then I guide my students to work backwards in how high in math they would like to accomplish, and then scheduling out their math that way. So if you know the highest you want to get is to AP Calculus by your senior year, then you would do integrated 1 freshman year, integrated 2 sophomore, 3 junior year, and then calculus your senior year. But that's not the same level that all students feel comfortable or their academic goals. And so I always recommend talking to a counselor or really sitting down and looking at this presentation to work through what's right for you.
And the great thing with this presentation is it does show the 3 integrated sequence classes and then all the classes that are available afterwards, which would be considered advanced math. And then when you go to the next slide, it will say, if you're looking at integrated 1, here's a sequence that you could follow. So this is the one that Ms. Ramirez was just mentioning, doing 1 math every year and then 1 of these math classes to meet that 4 years recommended. So this presentation is available again on our Westview course registration resources under math, and it's the second link here. So we try to put everything we can on the website for you to access to give you more information.
I've seen a couple times people asking about joining clubs, how to join clubs or when that happens. Clubs, so on our ASB website, we have a list of all of our clubs, and it's changing every year because we have new clubs coming and we have some clubs that don't continue. So you always want to check our ASB website to see what the most updated clubs are. And they typically tell you when the club meets. So if you want more information, you can click on the name of the club that you're interested in, and it will tell you they might meet on Wednesdays during lunchtime, and in what room they might meet. And so for most clubs, you can just show up and ask someone who's there, let them know that you're interested in joining the club and find out if there's anything that you need to do. Most of our clubs are open to everyone, and they're available for you to just start participating and to join. There are a few clubs that you do have to apply, or there's more strict requirements for getting admitted. It's only a couple though. I would say the majority of our clubs are just clubs that you can join if you're interested. We also have a club rush, typically in the fall. So when you start next year in your freshman year, in that first term, we have a club rush where if we're on campus, they have tables where you can walk around and get more information about all the different clubs and find out when they meet. If we are doing it virtually, we did something this year. I think they did like a drive-through club rush this year. I'm trying to remember. But we always will have something for you to be able to find out about the different clubs.
Okay, so I'm going to answer 2 more questions. They're more about selection of classes and what if I don't get into one of my classes. And I've seen it in different ways, so I'm not going to, was asked about Avid specifically, but I'm not going to answer that specifically. I'm going to talk about in general your courses. So you need to select 8 courses. And if first, let's say you select graphic design. Graphic design is a very popular class. And traditionally, pretty much every year, 9th graders do not get into graphic design because it is a very popular class. I'm not saying don't request it, but just know your chances of getting in are pretty slim. Because priority is given to 12th graders, then 11th, then 10th graders, because we know that you have more time to take some of these classes. So this is where your alternate courses really come into play. We ask you to select 2 alternate classes at least when you do your course request. If you get taken out of a class because of space and availability, we will then take a course from your alternate class and we will put that in instead. So if, let's say, you signed up for Avid or anything else and you don't get it, or you sign up for ASB because you're wanting to apply for ASB as a 9th grader and you don't get into it, we will go to your alternate selection. So make sure that those alternate classes are classes that you actually are really interested in taking as well. And don't repeat classes that you put in for your 8 classes as an alternate. So if you put graphic design in your 8 courses, don't then also put design them twice for your alternate courses, because that's not showing to us that you really, really want to take graphic design, because unfortunately, if we can't put you in it, we can't. So please give us the other options for you. And there's another question really quick. I saw something else. Was there something else that you saw that would help to wrap up some of this? Thought I saw something, but now I don't see it. Never mind. Oh, IDTs. So if you are applying to come to Westview and you don't know what you are, if you right now are approved to go to, let's say Mount Carmel, and your course request window is specifically for Mount Carmel, make sure you select your courses for Mount Carmel. The IDT window doesn't close out until the end of this month, so you won't know whether or not your IDT has been approved until probably April or May. At that time, you will get contacted and you will be given a course request sheet to fill out, and we will put your request in. And you don't need to worry necessarily about getting classes, not getting classes. You will get classes. You will get the same, you'll have the same offering of courses as the students, as all students do right now. You're just in a different timeline. It's not a big deal. Just make sure you do select your courses at your school that you're supposed to go to right now, because we will roll those courses over in case for some reason you do not submit the course request form that's going to be given to you once we do get your approval. Okay, so one last thing is we know that you guys all have so many questions. So we are going to, in 15 minutes, jump on a Zoom and have an open general question available. So if you have general questions, not specific questions. So if we have specific questions, we're not going to be answering them for your particular student or for you. But if you have general questions that you still don't, or you're still unclear about, please feel free to join us. We'll be on there for about 45 minutes until 10 and try to answer any questions you have. So I will put the link to that here in the chat. And we do very much look forward to having you all here with us at Westview next year. We love welcoming our ninth graders onto campus next year, and we can't wait to meet you all. Please make appointments with us if you have further questions. And any other comments, counselors? No? All right.
Thanks, guys. Great questions.
Bye.
Hi, everybody.